So my first two guests are, please warmly welcome Azra Osmancevic and Anastasiia Klonova, please. So, how are you doing, Azra?
Very good.
Yes,
very good.
And Anastasiia?
Yes, great to be here.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, I'm going to introduce them to you. If you don't already know these incredible women, and they have been previous keynote speakers at Women in Tech. So, Azra first. Azra is Group CEO of Third Air. She was the ex-VP of Operations Nordics at Viaplay Group and co-founder of the legal tech startup Justic. Azra was named #1 on Ledarna's annual list of Sweden's top female leaders, among many awards, right? And Anastasiia is a project lead at Skill Shift Initiative. As an alumni of the US State Department's Inclusion in STEM program, she has worked as a project lead and has matched over 500 Ukrainians to jobs in Sweden with expertise in cross-sector collaboration and social innovation. She promotes creative ways to close the gaps between the government, private sector, and citizens. So welcome, both of you. How are you feeling? Good, good?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, it feels great to be back. It's always the nice vibes and good energy here. Feels like a big, warm hug for 2 days.
It really does, right? It really does. Yeah, yeah. So both of you have been on the stage as keynote speakers before. And Azra, I'm going to start with you, right? So in 2023, you spoke about 6 questions for the future that when it comes to leadership, but also self-reflective leadership.
Yeah.
Since your keynote, what has changed for you? What are the questions that have kind of helped your path, your growth in the last year? You know, you talked about reconnecting with your purpose and then
exactly
balancing humanity.
Yeah, on my way here, I was like, what questions did I have? So I went through them in my mind. And I think 2 of them feel, all of them feel very relevant. But I think if I just look at my journey for the past year, I really feel that the passion and purpose question, like, are you reconnecting with your passion and purpose, feels very relevant to me right now. Because I resigned from my previous work during last summer, and I was really on a sort of exploration path, like what am I going to do next? And that was all about reconnecting with my passion and my purpose, and what kind of company do I want to work for? What values does that company have? Or should I just do something? I've been in the media industry for a long time. And in the legal industry, so I was like, am I going to do something completely different? And I think, I asked this question to all of my employees during our one-on-ones, and I think I mentioned during the speech last year that 50% can answer the question, and the other half is like, what are you talking about? And I think for like the first time in a long time, I was actually the 50%. Correct. Like, we didn't know, like, what are you asking about? So I think for me, just finding the right path forward that is challenging, but it also feels motivating, and just striking the right balance between passion, purpose, and being able to grow as a leader, as an entrepreneur. So yeah, it's been the question. That question has been very relevant.
Absolutely, thank you. And then just kind of striking that balance between purpose and humanity and technology. Yes, Anastasiia, so 2022, you are also on the stage, right?
Yes.
And you talked about how people can support Ukrainians as they can enter the tech industry and flourish.
Yeah.
So what has been your journey since the last time you were on the stage? Can you give us like a testimonial? What's happened in your life?
Yeah. So when I was speaking here in 2022, it was the beginning of the war in Ukraine. And I think for many Ukrainians who have been living abroad, and of course, like in Ukraine, you were thinking, what can I do the most to help and support? And I think I found myself in a place where I try to think that my world is falling apart, but I need to be strong because there are so many people who have much worse situation. And when I got in touch with Elin, it was just a very new thing for me, women in tech. I'm not a programmer myself. I have been leading here an academy to reskill people to IT, so we decided to launch the program for Ukrainian women to start this journey for them in a new country. But for me, it was really a changing moment in life when after I spoke here on the stage, I got contacted by several other speakers from LinkedIn, from other companies, and they were my first kind of pilots and hope, where we build a small little initiatives where we try to connect Ukrainian talents with the different companies in Sweden. And in that way, I was contacted by Beredskapslyftet, where I work now, Skills Shift Initiative, and now I'm leading an initiative where we are helping so many more Ukrainians to get into job. So for me, I think it was mostly about not me as a person, as a leader, but also what I as an individual can give to those people coming to the new country and making their journey easier. Because coming to Sweden as the foreigner, it's not an easy journey. Yeah. Coming to Sweden as a woman who wants to do something in tech is 100% more difficult. So that journey was for me much more about those people, and I believe that all women that I've met on that way, I created a career guidance tool where we try to plan A and plan B to help them come into closer to their dream job. That made me feel that those people I work with are my role models, yes. And they were motivating me and giving me that power to keep going even when it seemed like there is not much to do. So this is my everyday work that actually started on the stage of Women in Tech.
And that's incredible. That's incredible. And the one thing I'm hearing is walking in your passion and purpose, right?
Definitely.
Fully, both of you.
Yeah.
And just to go to you, Azra, how does that feel? Because the last year you've been kind of realigning and getting back, reconnecting to your purpose and your passion. How does that feel right now?
I think you feel it in your body, because I think I joined a new company and I've had a very difficult start there, very challenging start. And I think because the sort of values of the company and what they do is so rooted with my passion and purpose, I think dealing with those challenges is much easier. Yes. There's a, if you feel that what you do is, meaningful, then whatever sort of roadblock you hit, you can just take that energy and sort of, drive through it, that wall. But I think if you're not connected, then, all of those hurdles become much more difficult to handle. So I think that there's an energy in your body when you are connected to your passion and purpose, and that's sort of the main super pill that you sort of have, and that takes you through, difficult moments.
I love that, the super pill.
Yeah.
And what about you? How do you feel? Is it like a visual? How do you feel in the work you do? Because you've talked about how the other people inspire you, but how does it make you feel?
I think that for me, these 2 years have been a lot about having courage to step up, to dare to come to the companies and say, hey, you can start somewhere. You don't have to do a lot, but you can start somewhere. And I think that when you think about our kind of project goals, we wanted to help so many people, hundreds, not just 10. But you all the time look at this elephant and you're like, how am I supposed to eat it? So this was a lot about like cutting it into smaller pieces and just doing it step by step and not getting the frustration take over you. So I think that my feeling was all the time coming back to this purpose and saying one step at a time.
Yes.
And also behind, I always say that we have helped now over 500 people to get a job. But behind each of those people, there is a changed life story. And I think this is what sometimes is important to kind of reconnect with yourself. Is not like these big goals, when you think global, think big, but also like those life-changing things that you were able to do for yourself, but also for others. I think that starting small really helps you to go further and also having amazing people around you to support and share, first of all, your frustrations and fears.
Yes.
That, I think, was my big energy boost every day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love that the thread is also vulnerability, being able to share that, yes, I'm struggling, or also taking it one step at a time. So now, Azra, those 6 questions, are there any new questions we need to be asking now?
I think I mentioned during my speak that we need to make leaders human again, and I think one aspect of that is what you just mentioned: courage, bravery. And I think if I'd ask another question this year, if I'd add a question this year, it would be, how are you showing up in terms of bravery as a leader? Because I think what we've seen during the past year is a lot of selective bravery. You show up for certain questions, for certain countries, but you do not do it for everyone. So I think that is something that we really need to sort of be mindful of, and I think we need to ask more of our leaders to take that selective bravery away, because it's not doing any good.
Yeah. Thank you. That's profound, and that's a new word: selective bravery. I love that. I'm going to add that to the arsenal. And Anastasiia, can you tell us a bit more? Because you're working on a new project called IL1. What's it about?
Throughout what we were doing, we said to the companies, we've seen many companies that have a very different ways and strategy for the diversity and inclusion. Some companies are way further ahead than others. But my take on that is that you don't have to be exceptional company in diversity and inclusion to have an impactful action in your work. So what we try to do is to meet the companies and employers where they are today and say, hey, it's not about you hiring 10 people, from the diverse background. Start with one person. And we've seen that in the industries, like, for example, the law firms in Stockholm, they hired in total 10 talents from us. And maybe if just one company was there and said from the same sector and said but this is how will we do, but when the 10 companies in the same sector unite and say, hey, we try with one person, then it works. So I think that my take on that, and of course what I want to promote, is that inclusion and diversity is not always about big numbers, big strategies, big words. You can always start with one small actionable achievement, and it should be as you said, it should be a part of your values, but everyone can make difference on that level, and it is important to start acting and not just writing the strategy. So this is a bit of what we're working on today.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I think not being ashamed of acting small.
Exactly.
It's not like you don't need to have these grand plans. Start with something, and that little seed will grow. And don't be ashamed of starting small.
No, I love that. Thank you both so much. And on that beautiful note, we've got lots of takeaways. Starting small, get rid of selective bravery, show up fully. Thank you. Thank you for sharing the couch with us, and hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and hope to see you again on the stage here at Women in Tech. So thank you very much, Azra and Anastasiia.
Thank you.